This is the upcoming MANIERE Air Jordan 5, the latest collaboration between the two brands, and I've got to say, they did it again. Before we get my thoughts though, let's see what some other people have to say about this shoe. Okay, Joey, I want your reaction on these.
These are nice.
And then check this out, there's little A's in the mesh. They're crazy.
The detail on these are so...
So what'd you give them out of 10?
I'd say like a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I like these. These are probably one of the better 5s I've seen.
That's actually sturdy. And they wrote one side of the buckle. It's just clean.
What would you give it out of 10?
That's a 9.
Over the last few years, MANIERE has been releasing collaboration after collaboration, and each one has been really solid. Obviously, they dropped the MANIERE Air Jordan 3s first, which in my opinion is the best collaboration out of the collaborations that they've done. It's also possibly the best collaboration on a pair of Air Jordan 3s. Again, I mean, that's just my own opinion, but I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. In addition to the 3s, you had the 1s, the 2s, the 4s, which everyone also seemed to love, and the 12s, and also the Nike Airships. And it seems like MANIERE is trying to create every Jordan model in their own variant or collaboration, and this time around they're dropping the Air Jordan 5, which should be one of the more popular collaborations that they've done on a pair of Jordans, because not only is the Air Jordan 5 a popular silhouette, but this collaboration is also incredibly wearable, at least in this colorway. Speaking of colorways, it looks like there are 2 colorways dropping at the end of this year. Obviously, you've got the black and burgundy crush colorway, which we have here, and also the photon dusk colorway, which should be releasing around the same time. And as far as release information, it looks like this black and burgundy crush colorway is slated to release on November 22nd for a retail price of $225, with the photon dusk colorway either releasing on the same day or following shortly thereafter. To be fair though, neither of these release dates have been confirmed officially by either brand, so we don't know for sure yet, but it seems like that is the tentative release date. But even though this shoe doesn't release for another month, you can obviously still grab pairs early. I grabbed my pair from Fine Line 1721. You can also grab pairs from places like StockX, which I made sure to link at the top of the screen. But because of the fact that you can grab pairs of this shoe a month early and for not that much over retail, I don't know if this shoe is going to be that difficult to get. And I feel like that's been the trend with recent MANIERE Air Jordan releases. Obviously the 12s were not that difficult to get whatsoever in either colorway. The Airships were a little bit tougher, but that's because they were a lot more limited. The 2s weren't hard to get, and you can get them for right around retail right now, maybe even less. And even sneakers that released a couple years ago, like the MANIERE Air Jordan 1s, are selling for right around retail or just a little bit above. I mean, to be fair, the 4s and the 3s are still expensive when it comes to resale, but that's because they're the most popular of the group. But hey, really quick, before we dive any deeper into the sneaker itself, let's first take a look at the box. So here's the box. It's a little bit different than standard MANIERE releases because it doesn't have the sleeve. In fact, I believe every other pair of MANIERE Jordan sneakers that weren't the Nike Airships also featured a sleeve. So for whatever reason, MANIERE and Jordan brand decided to forgo the sleeve on this particular release, and we're just getting a much more standard looking box. That being said, the box is still pretty interesting. You've got this texture made up of MANIERE's logo debossed into the entire outside of the box. It actually kind of gives the outside of the box the same sort of effect that you got from the clear sleeve because it still features that same pattern. So even though it's not shiny and doesn't come in the same sort of color, you do get the repeated MANIERE logo. On one side of the box, you've got the Jumpman in this glossy maroon color, and then on the other side of the box, you've got this metal accent, and of course, you've got the size tag. I grabbed a size 9, which is my true size, and we'll get into sizing a little bit later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. And the official colorway of this shoe is black burgundy crush black. And then one other thing that I wanted to show you guys inside the box is a picture of someone wearing Air Jordan 5s in this cool sort of like newsprint printing style. You've also got MANIERE written on top of it. Cool little hidden detail. I like it. But with the box out of the way, let's get back into the sneakers. All right, so I just pulled up to the office to get Osman and Josh's opinion on this pair of shoes. But before I do that, I want to show you guys the sponsor of today's video, Sole Premise. Now, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know about Sole Premise. I talk about them all the time. They make incredible sneaker bags. In fact, at the barber shop, all the barbers were like, yo, that's crazy. They make a bag specifically for sneakers. And I was like, that's right. It's a Sole Premise. Use code Seth, get 40% off. But seriously, if you guys want to check out Sole Premise for yourself, I absolutely recommend them. Bags are all TSA approved, which means you can bring them onto the airplane with you. And if you use code Seth, you get 40% off your entire order, whether it's this kind of backpack, whether it's a duffel bag, no matter what it is that you're looking for, use code Seth, click the link in the top of the description below, you get 40% off. Yo Josh, I got an upcoming shoe to show you.
These are pretty cool.
Where would you rank them in terms of the other MANIERE sneakers? Like would they be up there with the 3s?
How many are there? 4?
There's the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, the 12s, and the Airships.
Bottom half for sure.
Whoa, okay.
I mean, these are cool. I really like the details.
Would you wear them?
Nah.
No? They actually go perfectly with your fit right now.
Since I have the off-white 5s,
Right.
I think I like those a lot.
Fair enough. What are your thoughts?
Oh, this is crazy detail. Is there a logo in here? Oh, here too.
Look in the sock liner too. It's even like embroidered into the sock liner.
Yeah, it is. That's The details are crazy.
Would you rock?
Yeah, I would. I don't like love fives that much. These are nice. I just like the little details they put everywhere.
And actually, you know what? I'm gonna match these to some socks, but we have this crazy Dream Crew drop coming up this weekend. We've got 4 different pairs of socks and shirts and hats, and I'm actually thinking I'm gonna try and match it to one of these. Now, I realize that this one is probably the gimme, the white with the black. That's my favorite though. I think with this, even though it's a slightly different like vibe, the tans work.
Only this one would.
Yeah, true. But this is the same color as the hat. I love that. We also got the black hat and the shirt. Yeah, these are crazy. If you guys want to check these out, make sure to put some photos up with the entire collection on screen. Make sure to check them out. They drop this Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, apothecary.com. Also, we're giving away a Rolex. Hey, check out our website, link in the description below. Fire sneaker, fire collection. Check it out this Friday. So Brian, what do you think of these?
Oh, those are clean.
Would you cop?
I would definitely.
What would you give them out of 10?
8, 9, they would be up there. Jordan 5s are very clean. Definitely the best shoe as you showed me so far.
So diving into the upper, around the toe of the shoe, you've got this really nice dark black nubuck. It's very, very well dyed. It keeps the entire upper of the shoe looking very black, and I love it. I think it's a really nice material. Is it that high quality? I don't know. I mean, you can see the grain on the side. I don't really know much about grain. You're gonna have to go to Rose Anvil for that. I mean, it does look and feel like it's slightly better than standard Jordan brand nubuck, so I'm happy about that. Continuing up on the toe, you find more of that black nubuck material, which actually wraps around a majority of the upper of the shoe, and it does give the shoe this very nice premium feel. Moving up to the eye stays of the sneaker, you've got more of that black nubuck, and then it looks like they switched out some of the hardware on the shoe from a plastic or a TPU material to this leather, which actually makes the shoe feel more premium once again. I don't know if it's a nicer leather than what they usually use. I kind of doubt it because it's right around the lace area and you can't really see much of it, but I will say that it does feel nicer than a standard pair of 5s that just uses TPU there. Then weaving through the lace eyelets, you've got these flat black laces, and if you don't love the flat black laces, Jordan Brand also gives you a set of white laces and of off-white or cream colored laces if you decide to switch them out. At the top of the laces, you've got this clear plastic lace lock, which comes in this sort of aged yellow color, which is sort of the vibe that you get from the entire shoe. All of the TPU or rubber accents on the shoe also come in that sort of aged yellow color, which some people like, some people don't. It's got a very off-white vibe, and we've seen it on some of the other MANIERE sneakers, so it's not new, but it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it in this particular release. I kind of would have liked, I don't know, I like icy stuff, so I kind of would have liked the icy stuff on this shoe, but it is what it is. It still looks nice, and it ties in relatively well with the colors used on the upper of the shoe. Then underneath the laces, you've got what seems to be an entirely new tongue construction on this pair of Air Jordan 5s. First off, the mesh has been switched out from your standard TPU mesh to this mesh that actually features the MANIERE A logo, which you can also see on the side of the sneaker. This is probably one of my favorite details on the shoe. It's such a small change that you don't even really notice from a distance, but when you get up close and you see that the pattern's made up of a bunch of little A's rather than those pill shapes that you usually see on Air Jordan 5s, it's details like that that really lift the collaboration above the rest. It makes it that much more special, and I love that they did that on this shoe. I think that's incredible, and it's such a cool change. And of course, that detail can be found again on the mesh on the tongue of the sneaker and on the midfoot panel of the sneaker. Then at the top of the tongue, you've got what looks like a standard Air Jordan 5 3M hit at the top of the tongue, but it's actually slightly different because first of all, the tongue is significantly shorter than a standard pair of Air Jordan 5s, which you may have already noticed because the 3M detail actually loops around the top set of laces, which no other pair of Air Jordan 5s does. Not only that, the edges of the tongue are left unfinished. In fact, the edges of the entire ankle area are left unfinished. Not like the off-white 5s where you can see the foam, they are sewn together, but they are left with this sort of sharp edge, which I don't mind. It doesn't really dig into my ankle as much as I thought that it would, but it's different than a standard pair of 5s. Of course, in the center of the tongue though, like with every other MANIERE Jordan brand collaboration, the right tongue features a Jumpman embroidered in black, and the left tongue features the MANIERE A logo. But then you get to the back part of the tongue, which is actually my favorite part of the sneaker. I know it's stupid to say because you literally never see it, but it features this really nice maroon colored fabric with the MANIERE logo embroidered into it repeatedly. It looks amazing. It's very subtle, it's very quiet, but I think it looks awesome. And of course, another detail that I love on this shoe are the tags sewn onto the back of the tongue. On the right shoe, you've got Michael Jordan's signature. On the left shoe, you've got the MANIERE logo. And like I already said, one of my favorite parts of this collab are the details and the fact that not only does this fabric feature the MANIERE logo on the back of the tongue, but that same fabric in a different color wraps around the entire sock liner of the shoe. The details on the shoe are so well thought out. I absolutely love it. They could have gone for their standard quilted sock liner, which is not bad. Would have been happy with that too, but the fact that it's these tiny little MANIERE logos, it's sick, man. It's awesome. Then rounding off the inside of the shoe, you've got another premium hit with this black insole that features the Nike Air logo embroidered into the insole in white, which is something you almost never see, and it really makes the shoe feel that much more expensive, which is awesome, especially when you're spending $225 on it. That's so cool. I wish they would do that more. It's such a nice hit. Now let's get into sizing and fit, and for that, let me show these guys to my wife and also try them on the deck, because that's what I do now. That's my MO. I'm a deck guy. Don't know what I meant by that.
You like them?
Yeah, they're nice. What's the A for?
For MANIERE. You know those threes that you have that you really like? The white ones? With like
Yeah.
it's the Air Jordan 5 version.
Oh, cool.
All right, so we're trying on the MANIERE Air Jordan 5s. I'm assuming that they're gonna fit just like every other pair of Air Jordan 5s, because that tends to be the case with Jordan sneakers. They usually fit generally like all other Jordan sneakers. But just to be thorough and make sure, we're gonna try these guys on really quickly. Not gonna worry about tying it. We got the lace locks, that's fine. First impressions, yeah, true to size. No surprise here. What is your thought?
I think they're cool.
You think they're cool? Do you like this sort of aged color on the midsole and the outsole? I know Ben does.
I don't know.
Can you stop eating leaves, buddy? It's just like he just thinks they're chips. I don't understand what's going on. So out of 10, what do you give them?
I don't know, pretty high, like 7.5.
Compared to your MANIERE Air Jordan 3s, do you like these better or worse?
Those are like my favorites. I
Yeah,
really
those are
like
sick.
those.
I don't know what he's thinking. Like, I don't know what he's doing. But you think these are up there?
Yeah.
But not as high as those 3s.
Well, no, but I'm just
fair
partial.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Hey, I agree with you.
But I do really like these.
Yeah, they're nice.
Continuing back in the shoe, you've got more of that black nubuck, and of course that midfoot mesh panel that comes in sort of this off-white TPU or aged TPU color that features the MANIERE logos, which again I think is so cool. You really don't see a lot of changes to the mesh on Jordan 5s. Like we saw it with the Wings Jordan 5s, we've seen it when they sort of change out materials on the shoe, but you never really see them changing the mesh on the Air Jordan 5s. Sometimes you see them change the material, which of course is going to change the look of the mesh, but you never really see them actually changing up the pattern on the shoe. But really for any of the Jordan 5s that I can think of from like the last 5 years, other than the Wings, you really only get either that pill-shaped pattern thing or just a different material. You never get this. This is super, super cool. I love this. Moving even farther back in the shoe, you get more of that black nubuck, of course, because it wraps the entire way around the upper of the shoe. You've got another black leather hit at the topmost eyelets of the sneaker, and then on the lateral side of the shoe, towards the heel, you've got the 23 logo, not embroidered like a lot of the other details on the shoe, but actually debossed into the shoe, which is interesting because when you look at other Jordan 5s, it's either printed or embroidered. In fact, in a lot of cases, it's usually the only embroidered detail on the shoe other than like the tongue. So to see a collaboration that literally has embroidered details everywhere on the shoe, even on the insole, it is interesting to see them opt for a debossed 23 instead of an embroidered 23. Maybe it's because they've embroidered so much that they wanted to try something different. I don't know. It's probably not a cost-cutting measure. I really think it's because they wanted to do something different on the shoe and maybe contrast the embroidered details. But either way, it's very subtle, very hard to see unless you catch it in the right light. It's just kind of there. I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't get rid of it altogether. Then moving around to the heel of the shoe, you get to the final embroidered detail, which is the Nike Air logo embroidered in black. It looks incredible. It really makes the shoe feel a lot more expensive than it actually is because this detail is never usually embroidered. So I love that they went for that. It also really gives the heel of the sneaker a very cool 3D effect because the embroidery has a sort of glossy look to it, so it catches the light in this really cool way. It's awesome, man. They really knocked this collab out of the park. Then moving down on the shoe, you get to this black semi-gloss midsole, and towards the front half of the midsole, you've got these dark maroon shark teeth. They don't feature any sort of gradient or splatter print detail, which I like. I like that they're keeping it simple. One detail, though, that they did change on the midsole, which is something I've never seen before on a pair of Air Jordan 5s, is that they actually printed their logo on the lateral side of the Air unit. I've never seen that before. It's kind of a cool detail. It's not on the medial side of the shoe, it's only on the outside of the shoe, but it's cool, and it lets you know what kind of collaboration this is, even though you probably already knew from the color scheme of the shoe, because every MANIERE sneaker so far has been a similar color scheme. You've got white and maroon, white and gray, black and maroon, black and gray, which I actually really like, because I like minimal and clean colors. I love the fact that they decided to continue their design language throughout the entire collaboration, rather than switching things up a lot between collaborations, like for example J Balvin, who I think's done some really cool stuff, but each collaboration looks completely different from one another. The 3s look completely different than the 1s, and the 1s look completely different from the 2s. I don't know. I like that they're keeping things consistent with their collabs. I think that's a really, really cool way of doing things. And it's great for collectors because if you're trying to collect the entire set, the fact that they all look similar really makes you want to grab the entire set. It's probably a marketing thing. And then finally moving to the bottom of the sneaker, you've got this semi-translucent yellow rubber material, which I'm assuming is designed to look like it's an aged rubber and it's been on the shoe for a while. That's sort of the vibe that they go for with some of their collaborations. On the right shoe, underneath the semi-translucent rubber, you've got the MANIERE A logo, and on the left shoe, you've got the Jumpman. So I have a lot of thoughts about this MANIERE Air Jordan 5 collaboration. First, it's a lot better than I expected. I like the shoe in images, but I didn't know how much I would like the shoe until I actually got it in hand and noticed some of these smaller details, like the embroidery on the sock liner of the shoe. There are so many details that make this shoe so much more special than a standard collab, and MANIERE excels at that. They do that every time that they drop a collaboration sneaker, and this Air Jordan 5 is no different. I am interested as to why they made the tongue of the sneaker different and shortened it. It's not something I've seen before, but I guess I don't mind it. It's just a weird thing to do to a collaboration. Obviously, I love the MANIERE A logo on the mesh. mesh. I think that's super, super clean. And for the price point of $225, I do feel like this shoe is definitely worth it. In terms of colorways that they're releasing, this black colorway is my favorite. I think it's just super wearable, super clean. But as far as where this shoe ranks in terms of all the Maniere Jordan Brand collaborations, I'm gonna go with the third spot. I feel like this shoe is the third best Maniere collaboration. The 12s are probably, actually I feel like the 1s might be the worst. In my opinion, I love the 1s, but compared to the other Maniere sneakers that they've released so far, it's probably the weakest, purely from a visual point of view. This one for me is right up there with the 4s, which I had at number 2. I think I like the 4 silhouette a little bit better, but the details on this 5 are incredible and blow the 4s out of the water. So I don't know, tied for number 2 or number 3. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet, but let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.